over 500,000 people, iconic music legends, and a giant rainstorm. And this is Woodstock. The festival took place in 1969 when John Roberts, Joel Roseman, Artie Kornfeld, and Mike Lang. The original plan was to have Woodstock be a recording studio for rock musicians up in Woodstock, New York. But then the idea got changed around to a giant 3-day music festival with tickets for $7 for 1 day and $13 for 2 days and $18 for 3 days. The original plan was to have the festival at Wallkill, New York, but the citizens didn't want quote-unquote drugged out hippies descending on their town. A month before the Woodstock Festival began, they found a new location in Bethel. The festival took place on Max Yeager's dairy farm. With such a short time frame to build, they had to work really fast to get everything set up. From parking lots to the stage to concessions and all of that jazz. But they managed to get through it. When the date started getting closer, they were expecting about 50,000 people. Then it ended up 200,000, and then the final count of people was 500,000 and more. A problem they came across with was there going to be enough food for 500,000 plus people? And the fact that some of the concession people quit, and so they had to hire people that weren't as experienced. They came up with a plan that if they didn't have enough food to feed all of those people, that they'd fly in food from helicopters. And also that's how they would fly in all of the band members and artists. And on August 14th, 1969, the festival took off. People traveled far and wide across states and cities to get to Woodstock. The small town of Bethel was packed full of people. Cars were lined up for miles. Each car had a story to tell. Here's a story from Woodstock. When Jennifer Munkerman first saw the ad for the concert in the Sunday New York Times, she looked at her mother and thought that if she wouldn't take Jennifer to the concert, she'd run away from home. Her mother agreed to take her, and her mother was proud to have been a Woodstock mom. And when she passed away, she had her Woodstock pin on. Life at Woodstock was crazy. So many people got together for this concert, and surprisingly, there were no fights whatsoever, and the only deaths were due to drug causes. The people at Woodstock exchanged each other's stories. They told where they came from, who they were, and they also heard amazing music which told the artists' stories. Also, parents brought their kids to Woodstock. Woodstock wasn't just for adults, it was for kids too. Little did these kids know that they were about to be a part of a once-in-a-lifetime event. Woodstock was just as much fun for the kids as it was for the adults too. Whether you were there for your love and passion for music, or the scene, or just being there for this historical event, it was filled with love and passion, and people encountered love and peace. And in today's modern world, we can never get that. We can never recreate Woodstock. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. The people also exchanged and encountered drugs, such as acid, which is a form of hallucinated drug called LSD, and weed. But the people had so much fun. So I guess it really doesn't matter. Life at Woodstock was intriguing. The people bathed in lakes, and it was a cultural thing. What I find really interesting was it was only 3 days, but the lifestyle they lived seems like it lasted a long time. Since it was so crowded and they ran out of food, the helicopters and airplanes and stuff had to fly in food and drop down things such as rice. They brought down some watermelons and exchanged them and gave them to everyone. Woodstock was definitely a little world of its own. You had small town dudes with a guitar who would play music, and they would have yoga lessons and how to find peace in meditation. And it was its own little community. On the second day of Woodstock, they encountered a giant rainstorm that lasted for about 2 hours. And instead of being sad and bummed out that it was raining, the hippies had fun. They played in the rain, they danced, they put up umbrellas and covered themselves with their blankets and whatnot. And they made the best of it despite the situation they were in. They started lining up and started making mudslides and just started having fun and just kicking out in the mud, which I think that was really incredible that these people can take a bad situation and make it great and have a fun experience and an amazing story to tell once it's over. The artists who played at Woodstock didn't really make that much money. Arlo Guthrie got $5,000. Carlos Santana got $750. Clarence Clearwater Revival got $10,000. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young got $5,000. Creedence Clearwater Revival earned $10,000. Janis Joplin made $7,500. Jefferson Airplane made $7,500 also. The Who made $6,250. And Jimi Hendrix made an earning of $18,000 at Woodstock. And on the third day, not that many people stayed for Jimi Hendrix. Only about 15,000 people stayed to watch Jimi Hendrix perform. Which it was well worth it because Hendrix put on an amazing show with an amazing rendition of the national anthem. And after the third day, it was time for everybody to pack up and leave. When the hippies left, they left behind a ton of trash, and it took about $100,000 and over 400 volunteers to clean up 600 acres of pure trash. Traffic was just as crazy going out as it was coming in. Traffic was lined up and was a nightmare. Some people decided to stay another day or a few days till everything cleared out. Woodstock was over $1 million in debt, and they had 70 lawsuits that had been against them. But the movie Woodstock turned into a hit, and they got a chunk of the debt back, but at the end of it, they were still in debt $100,000. Woodstock will forever be known as the most popular music festival in history. Everybody was peaceful and loved each other, and there were no fights and no deaths due to fights. There were, in fact, deaths due to drug-related, and some people did end up in the hospital. Over the years, Woodstock got glorified as this romanticized and iconic symbol of a utopia and how that all these people could be together at one location and not have any fights or any incidents. But as the years pass along, the world turned ugly, and we can never have something amazing and incredible as Woodstock ever again. Woodstock was an amazing event and quite iconic, and I really wish I could go back in time and live it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.